Greetings, car fanatics. Today I'm going to be giving you some tips on purchasing your very first tool chest. I'm going to give you the tips and then we're actually going to take a look at my tool chest and I'll show you my setup. The very first tip I have for you is if you're going to purchase a tool chest, really think about why you need it. Are you a professional mechanic or are you an amateur who kind of just works on your own cars? If you are a professional, then you need to think about, do you have all of the tools already? Or do you need to get professional grade tools? If you do have all of the tools already, then you can definitely purchase a tool chest to store all of that. But if you have tools that aren't so great and you probably want to get new ones soon, then it might not be worth it to get a tool chest separately from the tools if you are a professional. Now let's talk about the next tip. Once you figure out kind of the use case, you really need to understand what tools do you actually want to put in the toolbox, because this is going to help you figure out how much storage capacity you're going to need, and it's going to help you figure out if you need a toolbox like this that you really can't add layers to, or if you are going to be getting more tools in the future, so you might need to stack more tool chests on top of it. So that's something to consider here. That way you purchase the right size tool chest. That way, when you put all your tools in there, you don't discover that you have some tools that just won't fit, and then you're kind of back to square one where you don't have a versatile tool chest that can fit all of your tooling needs. And my final tip is to really think about how often you're going to be changing your tool setup. If you're going to be changing it very often, then you probably don't want to go with a rigid organization scheme like foam cutouts, because you're going to cut out the tools, you're going to put everything in, and then if you want to change everything, you're going to have to go recut out foam, and that's a lot of work. So definitely think about how frequently you're going to be changing up your tool setup. I recently purchased this Husky tool chest from Home Depot. I got it on sale, I think it was $160. I did cross shop against the Harbor Freight tool chest, which is right around the same price range. Let me go ahead and show you my toolbox setup. So this is a Husky, it has 4 drawers, and it has a opening top. So this top space is pretty spacious. It allows you to put kind of different things that you need to grab quickly. I think one of the downsides to having an open lid like this is if you are the type to like to set things down on top, then you're going to have to make sure that's clear before you can open it up. So that's one of the downsides I've seen so far. And then let's check out the other 4 drawers that this toolbox has. So in this particular drawer, I just keep some of the C-clamps and this little brake piston clamp that I use. Basically, these are tools I use when I work on the brakes, so I have some anti-seize and other stuff like that over here. And then I have my taps just in case something happens and I need to rethread something. In the next drawer over here, so in this drawer, this is where I keep my wrenches and my different pliers. So I purchased this wrench stand from Harbor Freight. I think it was like $7 or $8, but it holds 14 wrenches. I don't have 14 wrenches, so I just filled it up to the best of my abilities. And then I have my other pliers and stuff over here. And as you can see here, I'm using this little liner. I also got that from Harbor Freight. It's supposed to be a no-slip liner. It's pretty thin and not super strong, but it actually does a pretty good job at like keeping your tools from slipping. So as you can see, I'm like moving it around and the tools aren't really slipping too much. And then in the next drawer down, let's see what I got here. This is where I keep all of my different sockets and ratchets. As you can see, these tools I have here are kind of hodgepodge from different companies and stuff like that. It's nothing I'm planning on necessarily keeping forever, but these are the tools I have, and for the type of work I do, it's sufficient. So that's why you see me using these liners over here. If I had a set of tools that I knew I would keep for a long time and that they were kind of professional grade and really awesome tools, then I would probably invest in getting the foam that I can cut out and then have an individual slot for each tool. But if you're like me and you have a bunch of hodgepodge tools that you've collected over time, you probably don't want to go with a foam cutout type of system, because if you do make changes to your tool collection, then you're going to have to redo everything, and that's going to be a lot of work. But in my case, the liner actually works really well. I mean, I'm able to just kind of organize my tools here, and then if I purchase a new tool and I want to move something out, it's not a big deal at all. So my sockets, I'm using these socket trays. I purchased this from Harbor Freight as well. I think it might have been like 12 or 13 bucks, but it has your set right here for the 1/4 inch sockets, 3/8 inch sockets, and then there's another one for 1/2 inch sockets, but I don't really have a ton of 1/2 inch sockets in all these sizes, so I am not using that at the moment. But I took my old Craftsman sockets and I just kind of lined it up here. It doesn't look that great when you're kind of missing sockets, so that's one of the downsides of having this socket tray. If you don't have, you know, all the different sockets, it's going to kind of look out of place. Now, my sockets, I definitely want to get a different set eventually. As you can see, I use these 3/8 inch sockets a lot, and these are a 12-point socket. It'll work on a 6-point bolt. However, it's not ideal because, you know, you're just grabbing it by the corners and you could potentially strip something. I haven't had that issue yet, but eventually I do want to replace this and get all 6-point sockets like we have over here. Additionally, I'm using these little socket rails that I purchased from Harbor Freight. They're only 99 cents each, and they do a good job at allowing you to put your assortment of sockets. It's pretty flexible, so you can kind of move them around and put different things. So this is where I have all my sockets. And then here's the final drawer on the Husky toolbox. It's a pretty good size space. It can accommodate things probably about 5 inches tall. So I just have different things here like the charger, my iCarsoft diagnostics tool for the Porsche, and then just a bunch of random stuff. So I have my torque wrenches as well. And then the last kind of feature is this bottom shelf on the cart. I do like this bottom shelf. It's versatile and it allows you to put your bigger items. For me, I just am using this for anything that doesn't fit and is kind of out of place. My toolbox isn't super organized, but this is a lot better than how I organized my tools before. And maybe some features I didn't cover. You have a little cork board over here, so you can put some hooks and you can hang things on it, and that's going to give you a little bit more versatility out of this tool cart. The wheels also have locking casters, so you can lock it in place so it doesn't kind of roll around. And then the toolbox does have some slots over here, so you can put some tools through these little holes. Well, thanks for watching, Cart Fanatics. I hope this video is going to help you purchase your first toolbox. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Leave any comments or questions below.